All right, so currently what we have, if you were to look at the results, is you'll see that it's overriding my actual web page. If you remember, this is supposed to have like, I think, a slideshow and like a call to action or something. I can't remember exactly, but it had stuff in it, right? So what's happening is that, like I said, that the fallback to our posts, which include pages, is index. So it's going to display index, and this is basically overriding because there's nothing in here that says to load in the stuff that I made. So that's what we need to do. So what I'm going to do is actually remove everything. We'll just delete it all because that'll probably be easier. Just delete it all, and then we'll just do PHP, and then we'll do the closing. And what we're going to use is what's called the loop. So inside of WordPress, one of the things that it's like the famous the loop. That's how basically all of the pages work. And what it does is this loop, this specifically formatted way of making it, will load in all of the information onto the web page. And then from there you can, dissect it and change it however you want, but it's basically how you load in your content. Okay? So what we're going to do is it's an if statement. So we're going to go if, and then we have to put our condition. And then inside of this condition, you want to write have underscore posts like this. Okay? Now, what this means is say, okay, if we have posts, so all of the pages that you create, like, you know how, like, if we're in WordPress, let me see if I can go to, which one is it? Is it this guy? No, that's not the one I wanted. Where is it? This one. Okay, let's bring this back over here. So when we are in here, you see there's an area for posts, which we haven't really been using. Those are obviously blog posts, okay? And then we also have pages, and that's what we've been using. That's what we normally make our web pages in and stuff, okay? But technically speaking, pages are posts. And there's also archive, which is another kind of post. All of the pages that you kind of see are basically all posts. They're just different post type. And so pages are technically posts, just so you get the idea that when we're writing this code, when we say have posts, it's the same thing as saying have pages, but it's just as have posts. So we run this method, this function in here, and this function will return either true or false. So basically, if we have a page, that's all we're saying. We're going to go ahead and do this. Now, this is where it's different than when we wrote if then else statements before. Normally we run an if then else statement when we do brackets, right? And then we put whatever in here and then we do an else, right? Or we don't do an else. You can have just an if, right? This is going to be a little bit different. Instead, another syntax that PHP accepts is this. You go like that, and then at the end, instead of an end bracket, like we had the start bracket and end bracket, you write end if with a semicolon. Okay? It's kind of weird, but that's the format. Okay? So it's a little bit different. The reason why this is actually kind of better is that, you know how, like before I was saying, you can go in and out of PHP? So I could do something like this. Don't do this. I'm just showing you. I could go out of PHP, write some stuff, right? Then go back into my PHP loop. Oops. Wait, no, that was right. Sorry, PHP. And then continue on. So if I did a bracket, this would start to get kind of weird. But if I have if and then end if here, it's a little more obvious, even if we have like stuff kind of cut up. So that's why this is kind of the preferred method, the preferred syntax. But this is equivalent to what we did before. It's just a different way of writing it. Okay? So that's why it is. So just look at this as being like the opening brace and this being the closing brace. That's the way to look at it. All right. So we're going to say if we have a post, so basically if we have a page, we want to do a while loop. So we're going to do while, and then inside of here, it's going to be the same thing again. Have posts like that. Okay? And again, the syntax is going to be the other way. One of the things that's important, so I said, we're using this syntax instead of the braces. When in a document, if I use this method, this if end if method, you have to use that in the whole document. You can't use this one and then later on write if quotes braces and then else. You can't do that. this will throw an error. You're not allowed to mix them up. You have to choose one or the other, but that's just the way it is. Okay, so anyway, this is going to follow that same thing, because normally, right, we would do braces again, and then we would do that with the while loop. Okay, so if you remember the while loop, what that does is says if what's inside of these parentheses is true, it's going to run what's inside the code. Okay, so we're going to say while we have posts. Now you might be like, well, didn't we just do that? The reason being is that you might have a web page. Like if you look at like a blog, usually what they'll do is that like the first page of the blog, they'll actually load in multiple blog posts. So it won't just be one, it'll be multiple ones. So you might have multiple ones on a single page. We're not going to do that. We're only going to have one page, but we're just going to maintain the same general idea of it. Okay, so I'm going to go ahead, and then this is just going to be end while, like that, semicolon. Okay, so again, this just means everything that's going to exist inside of here exists inside of what you're seeing. All right, now what we're going to do is this. We have to load in the post that we want to write. So you can write it down here, but most often than not, you see it written right after this. It's just the way that people like to write it. So underscore the post, parentheses, semicolon. So technically, this is the same thing as doing this. We're just putting it up here because it's just a cleaner way of working. The idea here is say, okay, while we have posts, I want you to load the post. That's what this is doing. Load the post in so that we can use it. All right. Then after I load in the post, what I want to do, and this is after this, anything you put in there is whatever you want to put in there. This is the loop that everybody's. This is the loop, as they say. I'm putting air quotes. You can't see it, but that's the loop. Okay. So what this is going to do is to say, if we have posts, I want you to run through those posts. While we have posts, run through them, and then I want you to grab that post. And then for every post, we can put in here what we want. Now, obviously, normally we're going to say we just have one page. And we're going to say, while we have that one page, and we're going to grab the page, and then we're going to do something to it. In this case, the page I want to grab, or what I want to grab from it, is again, so these are all built-in functions. So this is have posts. This is to load the post. We want to load the underscore title. Oops, not like that. Okay, so this method just literally loads in the title. So you know when we were working and we made the web page, and at the top you write the title of the page, so we have like home page and products. This is going to load that. So this is literally going to write it for us. Okay, and then the other thing I want, really there's only two items. There's two main items. Is the underscore, the underscore content. And that is going to load the content, which is what's inside of my page. Okay. So what I want you to do now is save this, okay, and then we're going to go back to the web page here, and I want you to refresh. And you're going to see, ooh, look, it's working. But it's also not working. I don't know if you noticed this, but it's actually kind of not working, because this is not exactly what we had. It's a little bit different, okay? So let me show you what I mean. I'm just going to go to, was it your last name? We'll just go like that so I can get to it. Okay. I'm going to go back to this. I'm going to go to my pages, and I'm just going to show you. It's not actually what we have, and I'm going to show you why. I don't want to view. We'll just click on it. I'm going to edit it. And it's going to load it in. And this is, forget you. This is what it should look like. And if you look, that's not what it looks like. Right? If you look at here, this doesn't look quite right. Now, a lot of times there's a little bit of difference, but this is a little more difference than I actually wanted. Okay? And it's not any better if we use one of the other pages. Okay? So it does say home, which is what we wrote at the top here. But the rest of it's different. And the reason being is this. Besides this, this loads in the content, but there's one other thing we need to do on our page, and this is going to seem kind of weird, but we need to, at the top here, you need to write WP underscore head, like that, and down here, WP, I'm only putting spaces just to make it cleaner. This could all be crunched up. It's just to make it a little bit easier. underscore footer, like that. All right. So what this is going to do, it's kind of like what this does, but a little bit different. So this will load in the head, but it says basically all of the head elements should start right here. So anything I've made or anything that's in WordPress that attaches to the head of the document will be run here, and anything that's attached to the footer of the document will be run here, and then obviously we would have our main content here. So typically when you look at a normal website, right, you have the navigation, the nav bar, maybe a banner or something in the title of the website, right at the top, right after the head. And then right here, right, you would have maybe like a footer navigation, maybe some legal stuff, things like that. These need to be put in here because these are what we call hooks. Basically what they're going to do is it allows anything that we've installed, be it themes, which we're only using this theme, but if we were using another theme, themes and or especially plugins and functions, they have to hook into something. And what that means is that the function itself needs to have a way of putting itself into the page. So what it'll do is it'll say, hey, I want to run myself when the head runs. And the only way it's going to run in the page is if we say, oh, the head's supposed to run here. And so, you know, whatever we installed, they need to be able to put themselves in there. So we have plugins that we installed. Remember the Simply Slider, and then, I don't know, we did some other ones, Atomic Blocks or something. They can't run because they have to insert themselves. So the content we made inside of here will be there, but it won't necessarily be the way that we want, okay? So once you've done that, go ahead and save it. Go back here. And it might not be 100%. We'll refresh it. And then you'll see now how it's more accurate. Because now, basically, this was a plugin. This plugin was a call to action plugin. I don't remember which one it was from. I think it was the Atomic Blocks. But if you had a slideshow on the one that you're looking at, like the products, I think we had the slideshow, it wouldn't be functioning. Because that is a plugin. And it needs to have a way of inserting itself. And so without putting those in here, there's no way for them to attach themselves to the page. But by putting these two things in here, I don't know which one. Some of them, like I noticed that when I didn't put this one in, the slideshow didn't work. As long as I had this one in, the other one worked. So one of them was using one of these, and the other one was using this. So they just need to be in there just so that they can hook themselves into your page. Okay? So this is kind of the most basic page that you're going to see, and you'll see now, you know, I already have it there, but now you'll see, we don't do that anymore. Where are you? Whoop. There we go. Now you'll see that we more or less have the pages that, you know, we were doing before. Now, obviously, it's a very basic web page. So let's go to products, just so you can see this one. Oh, I shouldn't have done it that way, but, well, this way you can see it first. Come on. You can do it. All right, so it's loaded up, and you can see we have these, right? And then if I were to preview a new tab, you'll see that those will be working fine. So they're extremely, extremely basic, right? So yeah, so you can see here's my slideshow, right? And you can see now it's working correctly. It was not working before we did the WP and W head. So we have a very, very, very basic one. I mean, we didn't, like you can see, like the head, we didn't format. We literally just write it. So normally I'd want to write it, but like maybe put it inside of an H1 or something. We didn't do anything like that. We just have a very basic thing that's going to load the content in, and that is it. So this is the most basic what you need to make a theme, at least to start with. Then you can start building on top of it. We're going to add a little bit more, and then we'll be done.